I've actually done every role within our organization until I became the CEO.
I think that makes an effective CEO, though.
It gives an understanding and not just like empathy, but sympathy, like knowing exactly what somebody is doing and what they're going through. And
right.
But as I became the CEO, that's one of the things that I wanted to implement was an owner's mindset. Employees clock in and clock out. We argue about whose role is what.
Yeah.
And an owner takes care of it without anybody knowing. An owner doesn't know, when they're clocking out. They don't tell their employee when they're clocking out. They don't tell all the little things that they do to be successful. Every year I sit down with my team and we decide which things are most critical to our success. And then you select the one thing there that you don't already do, and you decide, we're going to set a goal for this. If nothing else gets done, this always gets done. And then we internally set a weekly cadence to that.
Oh, wow.
We measure it. We have a scoreboard. And this is something that not just I do or our vice president does. Everybody in the organization does. We do 3 retreats a year to refine them. And then on a daily basis, everybody in our team reports on it. And so at the very minimum, we're all going for the one thing that we know will move the meter the most.
Welcome to the Lasting Business Solutions Podcast, Indy's launchpad to sustained business success, growth, and leadership. My name's Renee Lucas, and I'm your host. So in the last episode, we talked about mindset and habits that we have to create when we're moving into a new leadership position. Well, we're going to continue that conversation today, but on a little bit of a different angle. I'm really excited to have Eric Mueller here with me, who is the CEO of Dream Alive, a nonprofit here in Indianapolis. We're going to be talking about how to sustain those habits as the organization scales. Now, before we dive in, let me tell you a little bit about Eric. Eric is in his 16th year serving Dream Alive, which, as I mentioned, is a local nonprofit. They mentor youth here in Indianapolis public schools. Under Eric's leadership, Dream Alive's program has grown from idea to implementation and has grown from serving just 20 students per year to over 2,500. Eric holds an undergrad degree from Taylor University and an MBA from Purdue. Boiler up.
Hammer down.
He enjoys all things Indianapolis and especially spending time with his family, his wife Amanda, and his 3 young boys, Knox, Gus, and Hank. Eric, give us one fun fact about you.
A fun fact, I used to tour as a rapper.
Get out.
Yeah.
Are we going to finish that way?
That we can. Yeah. We can. We definitely can.
That would be so fun. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to do it at the end.
Okay.
All right. So Eric, we talked a little bit about Dream Alive, this nonprofit organization in Indianapolis. Before we get too far into leadership within that organization, tell us a little bit more about what Dream Alive is all about.
Yeah, Dream Alive, we're a mentoring organization. We exist to break the cycle of poverty by mentoring youth towards career paths.
And being in the trades, we love that.
Yeah. Oh, I love it too. I mean, there's a lot of people have different definitions for mentoring.
Yeah.
But we're daily with students starting in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and we mentor them until they graduate high school.
Wow.
And the whole time, the focus is developing a career path. So developing a dream, and let's help it come alive.
Do you work with the school systems to help keep them on a path towards that dream?
Yeah, directly with the school system. So mostly with Indianapolis Public Schools.
Very cool.
We're embedded in 5 middle schools and 3 high schools.
Wow. When we get to the end of the podcast, I'd like to talk a little bit more about Dream Alive and how to be involved and how to help out as an organization with heating and cooling. That's something that we are going to explore because getting people into the trades is so incredible.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible step for so many people.
It's a great opportunity.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit. Okay. So when you started with Dream Alive, you came in as a program director. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So how many years were between program director and CEO? roughly?
4 or 5.
Oh, so not many.
Not many.
Okay, we're not talking 15 years that
No.
it took to move from one to the other. Okay, so I can only imagine the difference in leadership styles from being a program director to CEO. Take us through that path a little bit about when you came in, kind of the leadership style that maybe you came in with,
Yeah.
and how that has changed, and I would imagine leveled up over the last 12 years, I guess, really,
Yeah.
as you've gone more into that CEO role.
Yeah, I mean, big difference. Big difference between being I like to call it like being an employee and being an owner.
Yeah.
Really. And yeah, I think a lot of it is just learning who I am and what my gifts are and how to lean into my team's gifts. It's very different. I would joke around with people. I've actually done every role within our organization until I became the CEO.
I think that makes an effective CEO, though.
It does.
You have a
It
different
does.
level of understanding for the different roles and the people in those roles. And on a recruiting side, from the people who you are bringing into those roles
Right.
and the strengths that they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think it does. It gives an understanding and not just like empathy, but sympathy, like knowing exactly what somebody is doing and what they're going through. And
Right.
yeah, I think it's been great. But yeah, it's very different. And it was a very different dynamic for us too. It wasn't, it's not all roses and flowers.
Oh, it's
and
not.
everything.
But I thought like being a CEO was like you get a big paycheck and you don't have to hardly work at all.
Yeah, no, not really.
It doesn't work that way. I know.
No.
Tell me a little bit about the owner's mindset. Like you
Yeah.
mentioned, like kind of going from employee to owner. And so it's a nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
And so, but it's still an owner's mindset that we have to have. What does
Yeah.
that mean to you?
Well, that's a part of our core values at Dream Alive.
So
And that was
everybody has
something-
an owner's mindset.
Everybody. I don't hire somebody unless they have an owner's mindset. And that's very strategic. I wouldn't be able to identify that when I was hired for the organization. But as I became the CEO, that's one of the things that I wanted to implement was an owner's mindset. You know, employees clock in and clock out. You know, we argue about whose role is what.
Yeah.
And an owner takes care of it without anybody knowing. An owner doesn't know, when they're clocking out. They don't tell their employee when they're clocking out. They don't tell all the little things that they do to be successful. And especially for a nonprofit, technically nobody owns us as a nonprofit.
Right.
But we're not going to be successful unless we do own it, because we're here for the better good of whoever our client is. And in this situation, it's students and families in Indianapolis.
So when you're recruiting and you're looking at filling a role within the organization, how do you portray the importance of that in that initial interview? Because it is hard to tell when you're recruiting, like, is that person really going to bring those character traits or are they not? So how do you express that?
It's super hard. I think that we have a little bit of a cheat code with just like our pipeline of talent. We're at the heart a mentoring organization, and we mentor youth. And so a lot of our youth, we have youth internships. So we'll have high schoolers that intern with us. We constantly have 10 to 15 college students that are doing internships or work study with us. And so we constantly are finding opportunities to get more and more people in. And so most, if not all of our staff have spent some time either volunteering or being a part-time person before.
Or an intern or something like that.
Before
Yeah.
they came. And so we
That
got a
makes
chance
sense.
to see it.
Yeah.
There are some people that haven't, and we really, I don't know how much people like it or not, but we really run them through the ringer when it comes to interviews. We don't just talk like we are. We go into the school and must see people in action, and that's one of our round of interviews. It's just, you're going to come in and you're going to hang out. We're going to do some things together and see what happens.
You know, they always say to hire slow and fire fast, right?
We say that all the time.
Yeah, and I think so many business owners have that switched where they hire really fast and then they hang on and they hang on and they hang on to people who aren't a good fit within the organization or aren't performing at the level that the organization is operating at. And then it creates all kinds of problems, right?
Yep.
What keeps you from being scared? I think for a lot of leaders, they're scared that if they don't hire fast, that they're going to be short-staffed or they're going to lose the opportunity with that person or something else. And so how long is your interview process in general? Like how many phases is it? And how long does it take you to fill a position?
We have 3 phases once we have an applicant. The first one is just a nice meet and greet with one of our staff members. And which, by the way, I do have the best staff. I'm only here because I have the best team. They are the dream team.
Yep. I love it. They're the dream team.
They're the dream team. Michael, Jordan, Larry Bird. No, my team. My team is the dream team.
We talked about branding and really owning a few episodes ago with Lemon Seed, and they call their team the Seeds. And I love how it's Dream Alive, and you call your team the Dream Team. I love it.
I frequently call them the dream team.
I love it.
They are the dream team.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's 3 phases. So the first phase is they usually meet with Steve, who's our vice president of programming. And the second phase is we try to do something in the school with students. This is our program staff is what we mostly hire for. And then the third phase, after they pass that, and that phase, we might make that longer too. If we have a question or if we have a couple applicants, or we have issues, like we might make that second phase longer, and that's okay. And then the third phase is a final meeting with me and our vice president. But we've had seasons where we haven't hired or filled a position, and our team collectively is okay with that too.
Because they know that they'd rather come together than fill it with the wrong person, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're in a business, I hate to even say business, a business of relationships.
Yeah.
And for us, like a key factor is long-term relationships. So if we're going to be with students and families for at least 7 years continually, I want to be very careful to have somebody who I think is willing to last that long. And so who cares if it's a few months or even we've even had a year, if it's the right person and then they get 7 years with the family.
I can't imagine, especially when we're looking at mentoring programs, you have to have some stability in there. And if you are constantly having a new mentor in there and then they just get comfortable with that person, I would imagine that would break a little bit of trust with the organization if you don't have that longevity.
It does. It really does. It's super important. And especially where we serve our youth. I mean, 95% of the youth that we serve, them and their families are living at or below poverty. And one of the key things that happens is there's relationships in and out. There's instability. There's so many different factors that our families and youth are facing. The last thing they need is another relationship in and out of their lives. Right.
That makes sense. Do you feel like, well, 2 questions. Did you develop that interview process, or was that already there when you came on as program
I developed
director?
that.
You developed
process,
that. Okay. So as a program director moving into CEO, did you see that as a weak point in your business and make a focus of that? Or was that something that was kind of like, on task when you joined the organization? Like, how as a leader did you identify that as maybe a weak point in the organization? Yeah,
well, one of the things that I started even back when I was the program director is we're just honest about our wins and losses. And after everything we do, it's very hard.
It can be hard to face. We always say, like, you got to look in the mirror and start right here. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we've evaluated everything from day one, from the time I was a program director, evaluating just like 2 hours with kids to evaluating entire programs to staff to programming. And it's really, especially when you grow from serving 20 kids to over 2,000, like it's really startup mode. And I don't think that you can be quality in that unless you're constantly evaluating and finding ways to get better. And so that's one of the things that I identified early on was, okay, we need to change how we hire, who we hire, why we hire. Right.
So Eric, talk to us about this. When you are, even as a program director, you're a leader in the organization then, and then especially moving into a CEO role, there are so many things that are on your plate. You wear a million different hats. You have a lot of people reporting to you, and probably along the way that has changed. How do you make the time to work on the things that move the business forward, move the organization forward, and help it to scale? Instead of like so many business owners, we get so caught up in the day-to-day. How did you really carve out time for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, I think there's two things. One of the biggest things has been we operate a lot of what we do with like a principle that we call setting like wildly important goals. It's a Steve Covey thing.
Yep.
4 disciplines of execution. And so every year I sit down with my team and we decide which things are most critical to our success. And you brainstorm what those are, and we're all doing a million things. And then you select the one thing there that you don't already do, and you decide we're going to set a goal for this. If nothing else gets done, this always gets done. And then we internally set a weekly cadence to that.
Oh, wow.
We measure it. We have a scoreboard. And this is something that not just I do or our vice president does, everybody in the organization does. We do 3 retreats a year to refine them. And then on a daily basis, everybody in our team reports on it. And so at the very minimum, we're all going for the one thing that we know will move the meter the most.
I love that, man. I think back to our company and our goals, and we can be so guilty of setting that goal and having that target, and then we don't talk about it. We don't touch it. Everybody has their things that they should be doing within it, but then we don't touch base on it for a month or a quarter or something like that. And then you get through all this time and it's suddenly like, oh man, we haven't made hardly any progress on this, right?
Yep.
And so I want to go back. I mean, to what you were saying on your targets, there are for sure weekly check-ins, but you even mentioned daily. Like it's something that has to be in front of you every single day.
Yeah, we have a great, it's a shameless plug for another one of our companies that we partner with, but there's a company called Elate. They do software, and we adopted their software 2 or 3 years ago because it's like program management software, project management software, but it allows you to link in goals right away to your strategic plan.
Yeah.
And to me, that lined up ideally with what we do. And so now my team, every day they have to measure it. And then the cool thing is every year, every semester, when we change those goals, the goals that we achieved the previous semester or school year, like they remain. So like the hope is that you're developing a new set of skills, you accomplish it, you know how to accomplish that goal. That'll just be something you instinctually do moving forward.
Right.
And then next year, what's the one next thing that we can do to be even better? And so over years, like you're going to keep building and building and building and building. And so the hope is as you grow, your organization grows, your goals grow, your impact grows, and then you're measuring it all the time. We do check-ins as a staff, and every Monday, there's a green, yellow, red system on all these. And we will stop and intervene if it's a red.
Red, for sure, yeah. And then it's on your radar if it's a yellow, right?
Yeah.
I really love that. I think as a leader, if we don't have the self-discipline ourselves to hold ourselves accountable and make sure that we're ourselves staying on targets, I always say, like, how could you ever hold anybody else accountable, right? How have you built some of those habits yourself to make sure that you don't get out of this, and I'll say, for a lack of a better word, routine that you're in to check in on these daily things, because life happens, life in business happens, personal lives happen and everything. And it's easy to use that as an excuse of how we kind of fall off the rails, right? Yeah. And you're not perfect. I'm sure you have fallen off the rails before. How do you keep those habits in place? How do you sustain those, especially as the organization scales?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this exactly answers the question, but I do think that one of the other tenets that we've developed on the staff is just this tenet of humility, and I kind of lean into servant leadership. So servant leadership being different than maybe like a vocal leadership. Servant leadership meaning, I really believe my staff who are in the field in the schools, like they're the professional at their school. Yeah. They're the professional with the kids, whether it's them or my finance person or my operations person, they're the professional. And so I come to them for, okay, what should we do? Like, this is a conversation. I work alongside them. How can I show up and help? And so there's a lead by example. There's an opportunity to equip others to be leaders and use the best of themselves. And I think that that style and that culture in our team has lent it to be, hey, it's not just about Eric and what he's saying. Like, we're all together, and it gives them the opportunity to lead. It gets rid of micromanaging. It brings me in as a thought partner, and there's a level of respect too. It's not humility that gets walked on. It's like, no, Eric cares, he listens, he wants to hear my ideas first. We might not go with that idea, might be a learning opportunity, but when everybody on the team can have that attitude, then we're all better. It takes the best of all of us, and it irons out the worst of us.
I love that. And I think too, I mean, it's really an atmosphere of collaboration is what it is. And everybody's ideas are valued. Like you said, it doesn't mean that everybody's ideas have to be implemented or are the greatest in the world, right? However, making people feel valued and that they can bring it opens people up to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah. Where did you learn about servant leadership? Is it something like, what sort of, whether it's been coaching or experiences that you've had in the past, or maybe other mentors that you've had, like, what made you take that direction in your leadership style? Yeah,
well, I never really heard the term until my MBA at Purdue. There's a lot of lessons on it. But as I went through that term, I really think for me, it starts just with my faith in general. So Dream Alive, we're not a Christian organization, but I am pretty bold with the team that I lead from a basis of being a Christian. It's why I do what I do. And I think, since that happened in my life, I see a lot of those examples when we look at Christ and we look at stories. If you read in the Bible about Jesus, washing people's feet. You would read about Jesus hanging out with who people thought were terrible people. And he was always there serving. And I really think that those little things were instilled in me before I went to Purdue, before I learned that servant leadership.
Before you were with this organization.
And that will even get, spoken about. They don't talk too much about theology or Christianity, but they do use that. There's people, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, there's a lot of people that they use as examples of that. And then even when you look into the world now, you get different CEOs that have led that way, and they take the best of their team and they really elevate it. And that's really, I do think that's unique and different, and can be an appearance of being walked on. But I really do believe it's the best way to love and lead. Something that is, I keep hearing you come back around to is your team. And I think that's so important as leaders. I know that, and there have been times where I feel like I'm alone, right? I feel like I'm alone, or you feel like, Travis and I say all the time, you think you're on this lone island, and you realize, like, number one, you're not, because there's so many other people that feel the same way that can relate and can help you with that, right? But looking at your team, like your team, especially when they're in a leadership role within the organization, they're there to lift and level up with everything. And sometimes they have the tools to do that. Sometimes they don't, and they need some assistance with that. But I think that's the thing to remember is when you build a strong team behind you, it lifts everybody up, including yourself. I mean, I would venture to say that you are the leader that you are today because of the team that you have surrounding you. 100%. Yeah, that team is everything, and it's a pleasure to be able to work with them and serve alongside them. And when you get into rough patches, I mean, we're in a bit there. It's hard to define rough patches when you have such a good team to go through them. But we, this recently we lost our bus, which is really hard to lose a bus when you serve as many kids as we serve. Mechanical, just something's been wrong with it. It feels like for the last 2 months. And my team, it's like, well, instead of us complaining about it, instead of us like feeling sorry for ourselves, immediately everybody's like into problem solving mode, and we're solving problems and we're figuring it out, and we're not just doing it, but we're happy about it and it's working. We had a van, our transportation is literally yesterday, we had a van got broken into at one of our schools. And so now we're down a van. But immediately I had one of my staff members call me, and she said, this is what I think. And I was like, yeah, I think we should do that. Let's do that. Let's get it fixed. She took it there. It's like, as an owner, I'm used to, okay, well, I'm going to go have to pick this up. Not going to do this. Yes. She took care of it, got the bill, send it out. I mean, like, and then we're back, you know, serving kids. We actually, had another vehicle that we use to serve the kids. I mean, so like problems are getting solved before they come to me.
Yes.
And in a happy, joyful way. And it just makes us better. I mean, the team aspect, I think, is huge. And I think it'd be huge for any organization, not just a nonprofit.
You know, I would say too that you have empowered them to make some of those decisions without having to come to you first or ask if it's okay or whatever the situation lies, right? It's really, you know, here's the problem. How are we going to solve it? I think that's where owners too, they get to where they feel dumped on or they feel like the day-to-day it carries them away because it's like, oh, now I've got to handle the van. I've got to handle the bus. I've got to handle all of this, instead of having that mindset of I've got a whole team and who's going to take this on? Who's going to problem solve this? Who's going to jump into this? You know, it's funny. There was a stamp that we had. There was somebody, she's no longer with us, but she was that person who would jump in and help with whatever, right? And as a joke, she had a stamp that said, not my job on it, right? And so she would be like, not my job, and then she would like go and do it or whatever. But I think there are organizations that if there is that mentality, and you mentioned that, you don't recruit the right people in, you don't have that owner's mindset across the whole owner, they do. It's like, well, that's not what, like, that's not what I do. I leave in 20 minutes. I can't really help you with that. Right. And so I love that that's not even a question in the organization. And then how powerful when you're talking to other business owners in the community to partner with them, to be able to showcase that and show such strong leadership. I know for me, myself, that makes me want to partner with you, knowing that leadership style and the team that you have behind you and everything. Like I just, that's very appealing to me as a business owner.
Yeah. I think it's appealing to my coworkers, our employees too. Yeah. It's like you want to work at a place where you feel like you have a voice, like you do make a difference.
Do you have a lot of internal referrals to, like, if you have a position that's going to post, do you have a lot of internal referrals?
Yeah. And it started to more and more the larger that we've gotten.
Yeah. That's one of my goals in business, is that we never have to post a position because we have so many internal referrals and so many people that they're like, oh my gosh, I want to be there with those people and this organization. They believe in it so passionately.
100%.
What is something, if you had to talk to other leaders, business owners, what is something that you would say is a habit that you need to work on developing, like it's a non-negotiable?
I mean, you could just go with that same theme, and it's delegating. Like as a leader and CEO, like your time is capped. Like nobody is making more time. Like the older I get, I think the more that I see it, whether it's with my kids or my wife or my family, like you don't get time back. Right. And you can't, but you can multiply your time through other people. So if you can invest in your people, if you can invest in other owners, and I know that's not everybody's job title, but if everybody takes that stance, imagine how great your organization can grow if you replicate yourself in somebody else.
I love that. Yeah. That's what they always say, like, you know, if I could clone myself, I would. What you're saying is you can.
Yeah, just go do it. Like find the right people and go do it.
Did you catch that? That's a good one. I like it. So tell me, when you get off track yourself as a leader, and I think for us, like some people can't always see it from the outside, but we know, right? We're off a little bit. How do you get yourself back on?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that immediately comes to my mind is accountability and help. And so I have a really great relationship with my vice president, and we are really in lockstep. And so I think he has the freedom to, tell me, call me out, Sure. And so I think having that regular, I mean, we meet regularly, we probably call or text each other every day. Yeah. But I think having that, and he might not even need to say anything, but knowing that we are checking in that regularly, like really keeps me on the rails. Yeah. And it might be my personality too, but like if there's railroad tracks, I'm on the train moving forward. There's no back. Yeah. And so fortunately I haven't had to be in a place where I'm not in those habits or I'm not moving forward. And I think maybe a lot of that goes just to this inward feeling that, hey, these people are counting on me to invest in them. Sure. and that's not going to leave no matter what. So
you're always going to show up for them.
Yeah. So there, I don't know. To me, there's just that baked in accountability that doesn't really answer your question, but I don't think I have a great answer for that because I haven't.
I think it does though.
Experienced that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's awesome that you have not experienced that, right? But I think you have though in an accountability partner. And so if we have, single business owners or sometimes that CEO level role, you always hear too, as a business owner, as a leader in the company, like, I don't have anybody to vent to. I don't have anybody to do some things to. You need that accountability partner. So who is that, right?
Yeah.
And so that is what I would say would be the takeaway from that is identify who that accountability partner is. So even with my husband, Travis, and I, we're co-owners in the business, but we're not always each other's accountability partner. Like he has somebody that's actually in Tennessee that is that person for him. And I have that person for me. And so identifying who that is, because, there's going to be time, like life happens, like we said, and it happens to even us as business owners and leaders and CEOs and everything else, right? And so remembering though, you made a good point, like you have a lot of people to show up for. You have your team to show up for, you have the people that you serve to show up for, you have the sponsors to show up for. And so it's remembering like, there's more to it than you. And so as leaders, we have to level up and not use that as an excuse.
100%.
Yeah. So Eric, now let's talk about the community. Let's talk about your organization here in the community. So give us a little bit more about what you guys really do on a day-to-day basis, and especially like within your staff.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So like I said, we mentor youth towards career paths, but one of the key differentiators in how we mentor is we get the community involved.
Okay.
And so what that looks like is I have my staff and they integrate into the school. So any middle school, they're there with kids before, during, and after school.
Every day.
Every day for 7 years. And one of the things that we do every week is we take kids at each of these schools to see, touch, and feel different careers. And so that means we need hundreds of different companies willing to invite my kids over for an hour to see, touch, and feel what it is that you do.
Are there certain industries that you focus on?
We want to focus on all industries because in our mind, the hope is any career path that this youth that's going to become an adult gets excited about. Like we want to come alongside and encourage that. Because if we can get excited about something, then you have that internal motor to keep pushing when things get hard. And so the more different organizations, companies, fields that we can expose students towards, the bigger opportunities, the more students are going to have amazing stories. And you could take this out if this is talking too much, but the best way to share what Dream Alive is like sharing just like a 1 minute, 2 minute story of one of our kids.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
So one of the students that I met, 13 years ago, his name is DJ. Dwight is his real name. And I met Dwight in 7th grade at Shortridge Middle School, 34th and Meridian in Indianapolis. He came into our program. At that time, I was the program director. And so I met him in lunch, got him to enroll in our program. So I'd see him during lunch and after school. And one day, one of our trips was to visit an engineering firm. And we went to this engineering firm and they got to play with Legos, but in a unique way. They had to develop a bus stop for the Red Line. Okay. And they had to make a proposal to the city, and it was really cool.
In middle school?
In middle school.
That's great.
It was very cool. It was a very cool trip. But afterwards, Dwight came up to me. He's like, Mr. Mueller, I love this. What do I need to do to become an engineer? And so after I gave my soft push for Purdue, I was like, we want to walk alongside you and your family to make this happen.
Yeah.
And so over the next 6-7 years, so many things came up in Dwight's life. I mean, from having to move 6 or 7 times, to having to take care of things that he should not have to take care of.
Right.
But the one constant, the one thing that didn't leave was Dream Alive.
It was you, yeah.
It's the mentors, the volunteers, the companies. He developed such a close relationship with the CEO of that company that was listed in his college applications and his future applications. So he not only went on to graduate high school, but went on to graduate college and got hired by another one of our Dream Alive companies to be a civil engineer. And now he works for Citizens Energy, which is one of our partners as well, as a wastewater engineer. He has a daughter, and he started his own family. And so now him and his family start in a place that he wouldn't have started in before.
Absolutely. That's incredible.
And so that's what we're trying to do with all of our students that we're with. And so we can't, for him, it was an engineering place. For somebody else, maybe it's welding, maybe it is accounting. I mean, accounting might seem boring to some of us, but to a lot of us, it's
love
exciting.
Numbers. Yeah.
I would joke around it. If kids can get excited about insurance, when we go on a trip to an insurance company, then we can get excited about anything. And so the more companies that we have to offer these opportunities, and it's just easy opportunities. Hey, bring us over for an hour. I'll bring the mentors, I'll bring the kids. Yeah. We'll have fun for an hour, and you never know how much you can impact a life and then even a family in the future. Right.
From one visit even. I think about that, so many times, like in our business, we think that a visit has to be like a ride along or going to, you know what I mean? And sometimes I think about like, okay, what's the liability with that? And what are we touching? It doesn't sound like that needs to be that at all. I love the idea of just lunch or an hour here or whatever that is. So how would business owners or businesses here in Indianapolis, surrounding areas, how would they get involved with that?
Yeah, on our website, it's dreamaliveinc.org. There's a link that says get involved, and you just click that link and fill out. It's just a little form. It really goes to me, and I meet with the business owner and like, hey, what do you think? And I have me and my team. I have somebody, Jill, who's our volunteer engagement director. Yep. Her full job is to take care of all of our companies. And how can we leverage your strength to serve students? Right. And so we want to make it as easy as possible. Last year we did over 200 of these trips. Wow. And so we can steal things from other trips. Yeah. And make it engaging for students, and it makes a huge difference. When
you're looking at, so say somebody has an interest in something like engineering, accounting, something like that. Are you helping them with the college application process, the financial part of going to college? You're helping them with the whole.
Yeah, it might get into the weeds a little bit, but we have our own database, our own Salesforce database, where we follow the career plans of our students for 7 full years. Yeah. And it's a regular part of what we do. Now, not every student will end up spending all 7 years with us. They might move, they might get involved in something else. Sure. But the ones who graduate and spend all 7 years with us, we have plans, and we can see how the plans change over the last 6 years and help them to get to their plan. If it's college, it's, filling out FAFSA, filling out your application. Yeah. If it's trades, it's let's get you connected. Like, let's get you connected with the trades. Can we get you a certificate before you graduate?
Yeah, absolutely. Is there, if we're looking at something like volunteering, whether it's individual volunteering or from a company, is there a certain number of hours that you could say would typically be like plan on this many hours a week, or does it vary? It
varies. So the career trip option that I gave you, we'll have most companies pick one. So it's like an hour and a half a year for a few employees. Yeah. So it can be as little as that. Lunch mentoring, we do have this program for business professionals during the school year. So school year is 9 months. During those 9 months, if you take 1 or 2 lunches a month and come to one of our schools, we match you with one of our high schoolers, and we facilitate. So my staff facilitates, the mentor and mentee, and we feed lunch, and we do that on a regular basis. You just take your lunch instead of taking your lunch and going somewhere. You come to our school and you do that. And that's not super involved. Now, some of our mentors, mentees, they really form a deep relationship. Sure. And then we have so many opportunities. We have great relationships with all the different sports teams in Indianapolis. So it was like, here, go take some Pacers tickets and take your kid to the game. Or Colts tickets or whatever. So there's other ways to get more and more involved if you have more and more hours. But we try as much as possible to make it easy for every different level of interest or involvement or time.
I 100% can see our business supporting Dream Alive. Not only do I love seeing people go into the trades, right? But just being career driven, it's such a path for so many things, and success, happiness, financial stability, all of these things, purpose. So many times we find a little bit of our identity in ourselves in the career that we choose. And when we're intentional about where we're going and what we're doing, man, it sets us up for so many positive outcomes that you'd never even dream of.
Absolutely.
Right? It's so much more than just, I'm going to go do this for a paycheck and then I'm going to hop to the next thing and hop to the next thing. Finding a career,
it's a big deal.
It is.
It can be one of the biggest deals.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, Eric, thank you so much for joining me today. I think we have talked about so many fun things. And like I said, Dream Alive. And if anything, I go check it out. See what this organization is all about. Look at volunteering. If you are a business here in Indianapolis, see how you can get involved to help these kids create their own career paths. Eric, this has been such a fantastic conversation. And I really hope that we'll have some companies in Indianapolis that go and check you out and look at how they can be involved. But before we go, you did promise us a quick wrap.
Yeah, I did, I guess.
You're like, did I actually promise you that?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, if you insist.
I do. I insist.
Okay.
All right.
I'm about to spit it like a lyricist, never demanding, always understanding, nothing to talk negative about. When I get so excited that I just might shout to all the earth, to every stadium and every turf, I'm about to spit it like it is and how I feel. But in the end, it's all a matter of what is real, held in the high esteem, called ideal, seal of God written on their soul. In the end, it's all a battle of self-control in all minds to truly be made whole by the power and the resurrection of the Son of Man, delivered in his Father's will, his mighty right hand, and firm I stand, solid in my faith, no matter the time or place, strive to persevere. In the end, I will not fear, for all who hear, take up the sphere and hear the word of the Lord, and in his mighty spirit, take up his sword.
Woo!
I did my best.
That was awesome.
What I could think of.
Yeah, you were totally put on the spot. That was incredible. Yes, thank you. And what a great way, fun way to end our podcast today. Guys, tune in next time on the Lasting Business Solutions podcast.